All right, everybody, welcome to Canteen Cup. My name is Scott, and out doing chores today. If you notice today, I've got a different pair of glasses on. These are safety glasses with a built-in bifocal, so I can see up close as well as far away. My vision is actually pretty good far away. It's just that my nearsightedness is a bit to be desired. So I'm trying these out. Protect my eyes, protect my expensive glasses. These are about $5, so if I scratch them up real bad, I can just replace them. I think they're made by a company called Bearcat. Anyhow, just a couple quick shorts today. Got just doing chores like I always do, and today I'm working on my bush hog. I got a bush hog recently, and I thought I'd try it out in my woods, and I promptly sheared the shear bolt, and so I wanted to show how to replace that. It's actually pretty easy. And what a shear bolt is, in this case, it's a grade 2 bolt. It's a 1/2 inch in diameter, about 3.5 inches long. And if something gets jammed up in the bush hog, it's designed to shear. And what that does is it protects the tractor and it protects the bush hog, it protects the transmission so you don't, tear it up. So I had to go last night, and I got a couple shear bolts. I'm fixing to replace one. It's really pretty easy. This is the shear bolt. As it came out, it just slipped right out, and you can see where it sheared both ends. Here is the bolt end. So it did what it's supposed to do. And now I have another one that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to flip the camera around, hopefully without making you too dizzy, and show you how it goes into the bush hog. All right. So there's the hole. You can see it goes straight through. Here's the replacement bolt, and basically you just drop it in. I'm gonna go get a little grease and some ratchets, but on the bottom there you can see there's a lock washer and a lock nut. So that's one of the chores I have to do today. When I went to the store, I bought 5 of these, so I'm sure I'll break more with the type of property I have. So that's it for this segment. I had on my list to do is to go ahead and more permanently mark my property line, and really more for my own personal knowledge, and in case I want to build a fence. I know where the bounds are. When we bought the property, we had it surveyed, and that cost us I think it was $1,000, because it was a pretty straightforward survey. It was about $1,000. And if you look in the picture on the left, which I guess maybe is your right, you'll see a wooden stake with a pink ribbon. Well, that's what the surveyors put down, and it's just that, it's a wood stake. And so part of what I'm doing today is I'm going back and putting T-posts where the stakes are. And that gray thing is really, it's a T-post hammer. It's about 16 pounds. And what you do is you pick it up, and then you slide it down with both hands. That's what drives it into the ground. But that's what the post looks like, and what it'll look like. And then here's one that I haven't driven yet. You can see at the end here, there's a little, like a spade looking deal, and that helps to secure it in the ground. These things are pretty hard to get up once they're in. Can be done, but anyhow, that's what I'm doing today. I'm heading in that direction, so we'll check back in. Hi everyone, I'm back. I just want to let you know that I just finished marking my territory, so to speak, driving in T-posts all around my property. I drove in 27 T-posts by hand using a 16-pound sliding hammer. So I've been to the gym. That's a pretty good workout. It took me a good part of the day. I walked just because my woods aren't cleared well enough yet. So I did a lot of walking. I carried the T-posts. They were 5.5-foot T-posts, and they're the good T-posts, not those cheap ones you get in Home Depot or Lowe's, but the good, solid, and sturdy ones. And so I got to work out today, and yeah, I'm a little tired. But I want to talk about, for a minute, owning property and owning your property, your little slice of heaven, and why it's important to do what I did today. Now, when I first bought this property, I noticed that the last time it was surveyed was about 20 years ago, and that's a long time. And it was owned by many different people in between. And so the first thing I did is I got my property surveyed. And when you get a survey, and I recommend you do, that you shop around a little bit. There was a pretty significant disparity in pricing between the surveyors we went to. And mine was pretty easy to do. My property is basically a rectangle, and so it's not that hard. And I did have them mark the bounds, and they marked the bounds with wood stakes and surveyor's tape, which is good because you can see it. However, those wood stakes only last a year or two, and then they degrade, and the same thing with the surveyor's tape. And so I put a more permanent marker, and I put T-post in, and those will last 10, 20 or more years. They're not going anywhere. So that's why I did that. But now, why is it important to define your property? Well, there's a couple reasons. First, physically, everybody has neighbors pretty much. And so while you may have good neighbors, it's always good to sit there and say, this is mine and that is yours. That way there's no disputes later on, because you have said, this is mine, that is yours. And, you keep your stuff on yours, I keep my stuff on mine. But that's well and good, but you also need to legally define your property. And what I mean by that is, when you buy a piece of property, you get a deed. The deed is kind of like a title for your car. It shows ownership of the property. And on that deed, there's what is called a legal description. That is a description that legally defines your property. Now, why is that important? Because if you go into a dispute, let's say you and your neighbor are disputing a property line, and you go into a dispute and it goes to court, he who has the correct legal description wins. Because it's not when you transfer property, it's based on that legal description. And that's why I had mine redone, so that I have a current survey with a current plat, and my legal description identifies that brand new plat I got. And so it basically says that in the land lot this, of the district this, of my county, further described on a plat prepared for me by surveyor's name and recorded in the county clerk's office on plat book number so-and-so, page so-and-so. So now I have a legally recorded plat that says this is what my property looks like. And again, if you ever get into a dispute with your neighbor, which it happens, if you get into that dispute, then you having a good legal description with a good plat will help defend your case. Now, you still may have to arbitrate if the surveyor's made a mistake, but at least you could sit there and say, I've had my property surveyed, and I know that, these stakes were done by my surveyor, and my surveyor says this is my property. And so that's why it's important. It's that it's having a good legal description of your property, followed by marking your property, the perimeter of your property out, saying this is my property. Now, I did mine today, like I said, and I've got T-posts where all the stakes were, so that when those stakes finally, deteriorate and go away, I'll still have a T-post there. Now, what am I going to do with my property? Well, I don't know yet. If you look behind me, you see lots of trees and woods. That's one of my next projects, is to start clearing that out. This is a good spot right here, right behind me, and be to my right, to your left, for a garden. It gets lots of sun. And so that may be what I might do now. Am I going to fence in my property and put barbed wire and all that stuff up? I doubt it. But I do need to know the limits of my property, because I may fence in parts of it. If I want to have goats or mules or burros or chickens or whatever, I need to know where my property ends and my neighbors begin, so I don't encroach upon them. Because what could happen is whatever I build on their property, depending on how the court settlement goes, that may become theirs and not mine. There's lots of outcomes, but by knowing what is mine and what is not mine, when I start planning my property, when I start looking at how I'm going to use it, that, I know where to build, where not to build. And the same thing with my neighbor. If they see me building something and they say, oh, you're on my property, I say, well, no, here's the boundary. This was surveyed. This is and so, it saves a lot of issue there. But the main thing is that you must legally define your property. So if you're going to buy a piece of property, a piece of vacant land like I did, raw land, get it surveyed. It cost me, I think it cost me $1,000, but I consider that $1,000 well spent. Because if you don't, and there's something wrong with your legal description, you could be out a significant sum of money and land, or both. And so, it pays. I mean, buying land, buying property, and improving is probably the biggest expense you'll have in your life. And you don't buy a car without test driving it. Well, you don't buy land without getting it surveyed. Now, some people may beg to differ, but real estate's what I do for a living. And I've seen circumstances where the legal description was wrong and the owner was harmed. And so it just pays to be safe. You're putting out a lot of money, and I hate to see somebody try to save $1,000 just to spend $3,000 or $4,000 to go to court later on. So if you buy your property, before you sign the papers, get a survey. Make sure what you're buying is actually yours to buy. So that's it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I'm going to kind of take it easy. It's kind of mid to late afternoon, so it may be time for me to do something else. I've had a very, very busy past couple months getting settled out on this property, and marking my property was one of the last things on my to-do list as far as things we had to do when we moved on to the property. There's still one or two other things, but they're kind of like more my wife's side of the house than mine. So I finally got my move-in checklist kind of done. So I'm going to take a break, and then tomorrow is my Sabbath, so I'm going to get ready for that and hopefully have a nice Sabbath day and get ready for the new week. So I hope everybody's having a good day. For those that have Shabbat today, peace to you, peace be with you.
And for those tomorrow, hopefully you have peace tomorrow. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We did. I did a YouTube video on what to do with your leftover turkey. There's actually, don't just throw that carcass away. There's a lot you can get out of a turkey after you're done, carving it up. But I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope everybody is, getting ready for the holiday season. Whatever you celebrate. For me, it's Christmas. For my Jewish friends, it's Hanukkah. It's and whatever else is out there. I'm in no way biased one way or the other, so-called. I mean, whatever you celebrate, it's good for you, and I'm happy for you. I don't mean I'm not being facetious about that. I'm saying that with honestly that may you be blessed and may you have a peaceful holiday season. So that's all I have for you. Stay safe and stay secure.